Are you looking to beat Lexi and FaBrary? Stick around to see what two cards took Fai from 0 to hero. Hey guys, welcome back to another Flesh and Blood video. This video is proudly brought to you by the House of Cards, the official sponsor of my stream. Be sure to check out the link in the description below for all of your Flesh and Blood needs. Ever since getting back from US Nationals, I've been testing with other decks to see what might be working in the metagame. And honestly, the metagame's changed just enough to where I think Fai is a serious tier 1 threat again. Let me show you what two cards I put in my Fai list to start winning more games. Let's not waste any time, guys. Let's get right into the two cards that I've been talking about in my intro so far. The first one I want to talk about is Ancestral Empowerment. Ancestral Empowerment's a great card. It's a reaction that helps you push through damage against decks that like to block a lot, like FaBrary. Now, in a lot of situations, if your opponent isn't blocking Kodachis, if they're playing FaBrary because they're still trying to throw the 3-for-7s at you, that means your Kodachis can hit, and then if you can throw a 3 or a 4 cost attack at them, and then you can hit them with the Ancestral Empowerment, it's a very good way to push through a mask trigger. Against FaBrary, I think that Mask of Momentum is necessary. Honestly, I'm a pretty big fan of that, of Mask of Momentum into that matchup, just because FaBrary likes to block less than other Fatigue decks, in my opinion. So Ancestral Empowerment does a lot of work in that matchup. Ancestral Empowerment also does a lot of work in other matchups that like to block, like Bravo's a great example of this. If people are blocking a lot of Ancestral Empowerment, again, helps give you that breakpoint edge that you needed. Plus, it replaces itself, so it's also a decent card that you can arsenal in certain matchups, or it helps extend a turn. So I'm a really big fan of Ancestral Empowerment right now. The other card that I want to talk about is Breaking Point. Breaking Point is a card that I have always pretty much been off of as far as a 5 player is concerned. But with Azalea and Lexi being as popular as they are, mostly Lexi, I think Breaking Point's a great card. It's also very good into other aggro matchups just because it's a 1-for-5 that blocks 3. Rupture is not that hard to do. Honestly, the crazy part is if you draw a hand that is, blue, Breaking Point, and then, 2 random cards, and you're looking to get to the Breaking Point, all you have to do is block with one of your cards, and then you can pitch your blue, go Kodachi, 0-cost card into Breaking Point. Now, it's that simple. Now, is that a very explosive turn? No, but it's a very good card. The one downfall of Breaking Point is that defense reactions can't be played into it, but Breaking Point's really good, and it's really taken my Lexi win rate really high right now. I think playing 3 copies of Breaking Point and 2 Command and Conquers really helped. So now let's jump back up to the top of the deck and let's talk about this deck as a whole, because honestly, I really like Fai in his position in the metagame right now. This is my main suite of equipment. I am not playing Searing Emberblade. I'm playing with the Kodachis right now. I don't think that's really going to be a problem as far as everything's concerned, but there might be some reason to change to Emberblade if the metagame kind of sets up that way. If you're a 5 player, you just have to watch the metagame and kind of take things as they come. Mask of Momentum's a great card. It's almost in every ninja deck. It's great. We do have Mask of the Pouncing Links in the sideboard, but Mask of Momentum's a great card. Flamescale Furnace is honestly a block 3, and if you have multiple reds and a Flamecall Awakening, it can get you out of some sticky situations with resources and help you out quite a bit. Tiger Stripe Shuko is a 2-block equipment that also serves the purpose of playing around Crown of Seeds. It also plays around Oasis Respite in certain situations, and it just makes other attacks bigger, some smaller attacks. You get rewarded for playing multiple small attacks in a turn, such as like Blue Rising Resentment, Blue Lava Vein Loyalty, or multiple Phoenix Flames in a turn. So Tiger Stripe Shuko, a mainstay of Fai. And then Snapdragon Scalers, everybody's favorite generic ninja equipment that you always play at the leg slot pretty much. Let's look at the list here and just kind of go through everything card by card. Blaze Headlong, it's a 0-for-4 that has go again pretty much always in this deck. I love Blaze Headlong. It's a great card. Other decks have branched out, but Blaze Headlong is always going to be a mainstay in Fai as far as I'm concerned. Ram with Cinderclaw, we're on 3 red and 2 yellow. I like yellow because it pitches for our Kodachis, and it also turns on our Kodachis if we need to use it as a turn starter. We can play Bram with Cinderclaw and then attack with a Kodachi, and we now have 2 Draconic Chain Links, so that's pretty neat. E-Strike is a great card, pairs really well with Flamecall Awakening to go get an extra Phoenix Flame out of your deck, and then you can tuck the Phoenix Flame off of the E-Strike, so a lot of good value there in synergy, plus E-Strike's just a 3-block card that has a lot of value. You can block 6 or block 5 and then throw E-Strike for 7 and still have a 12 to 13 point turn. Flamecall Awakening is a really good card to arsenal and set up. It plays really well with Spreading Flames. It plays really well with Art of War. Flamecall Awakening just puts multiple attacks on the chain and is a very good card. Now, it only blocks 2, but that's the life of Ninja. So if you play a lot of Ninja, you're already used to that. Next, we're going to talk about Lava Burst. Lava Burst is probably one of the best rate cards in this deck. It's a 0-for-5. Now it has to have the Rupture text be met, but that's pretty common and pretty easy to do. I also like that it's a 3-block. It being a 3-block is pretty convenient. Lava Burst is a very good Mask of the Pouncing Link's target if you do have it in. Mounting Anger. Mounting Anger is one of those cards that comes and goes from the Fai deck. You know, it's kind of all over the place. You never, like, you see a lot of it and then you don't see a lot of it. So it's kind of tough to tell, but I'm playing 3 of it right now. I did have a concern, some questions, like reservations maybe around cutting a Mounting Anger and playing 3 yellow brand with Cinderclaw. So if you feel like the resources aren't enough when you're testing this deck and this list, you know, you can make that change and kind of try that and see how you feel. I'm only on 2 Phoenix Flame. I think 3 Phoenix Flame is a little too much for me. I like using one of my Flamecall Awakenings to get a Phoenix Flame and then pitching it for resources or tucking it with the Enlightened Strike like I talked about just a second ago. So 2 Phoenix Flames is enough in my opinion. I think that's plenty. Rising Resentment's great. You can help reduce the cost of a Mounting Anger or a Soaring Strike if you need to, if you can play it on the right chain link. And then we're playing blue Rising Resentment because it's a great blue here and it does a really good job. I'm a Rising Resentment's a great card. Ronin Renegade's just a draconic head jab. It's all it is. Like this deck fies a lot of head jabs, as you guys are well aware. So just trying to make sure that I stay on top of that there. And then we're looking at Snatch. I'm on blue and yellow Snatch, or blue and red Snatch. Red Snatch is obviously like a super mainstay in this deck. One thing that I had considered was cutting the blue Snatch to play blue brand with Cinderclaws. But you are taking away some of the attack value of Snatch and the on-hit effect. So I think that blue Snatch is a mainstay right now, but we could see that kind of shift around a little bit. Soaring Strike. Soaring Strike is a card that almost everybody, myself included, slept on when Uprising came out. Soaring Strike is a great way to give your Snatch go again, to give your E-Strike go again. Like, there's a lot of things you can give go again with Soaring Strike. So Soaring Strike is a very good card, and I feel kind of dumb that I slept on it for as long as I did. This will probably be a 3 of in every Fai deck I play from now till the end of time, unless some serious things change. Spreading Flames. How's your favorite 1 for 6? Spreading Flames is awesome when you pair it with the right hand. This is a great card to arsenal and set up. Spreading Flames and Art of War kind of look to be the same card. You like to use Art of War as like a 1 for 5, 1 for 6 if you're really stretching things out. Spreading Flames can also be a 1 for 6 or 1 for 7 if it has enough chain links. But I really like Spreading Flames. I got to make Spreading Flames a 1 for 6 last night playing some games. So Spreading Flames is a great card and a powerhouse. Will probably always be a mainstay of Fai. Art of War. It's like one of the best arcane majestics. Like, it's great. It's one of the best majestics in the game. Art of War is amazing. Like, it's very good in this aggro deck where you're trying to go wide and you do certain things. Can also be played defensively in a pinch if you need to, but Art of War is a great card and will always see play. I like having 2 Salt and Wound. Salt and Wound is a very good card. It turns on Kodachis, and it blocks for 3, and then it also is just like a 0 for 4 randomly, or a 0 for 5. If your Kodachis hit, and nothing else hit but you do a Phoenix Flame, you can use Shuko to make it a 0 for 5. That's pretty cool. Like, Salt and Wound is a very good card, and I like playing 2 of it, because if you're playing Mask of the Pouncing Links, I like having a second option to go and search for. Also, it's a really good card to hit off a Mask in certain situations, so Salt and Wound's a really good card, and I like playing 2 of it. Lava Vein Loyalty. I chose Lava Vein Loyalty as a blue instead of, like, Ronin Renegade or, Brand with Cinderclaw, because it's a 3 block. You do play it in certain situations, but it's just a very good 3 block. I like the 3 block aspect of this card. Soulbead Strike is actually kind of cool against Dromai, because you get to throw it at like a Caloria or a Chromai or something, and it hits and it gets go again, which is like really neat. So you're turning in one of your like lackluster blues that you don't really want to play that often into a kill a dragon, get towards Mask of Momentum, and keep that chain link going. So Soulbead Strike, that, and the fact that it's a 3 block is really good. Warmonger's Diplomacy. This is the card to talk about, isn't it? Everybody's talking about Warmonger's Diplomacy. Everybody thought it was backbreaking into Lexi, and it still is. If they arsenal 2 cards and you're looking at, like, if they arsenal a card and they don't have a way to get out of it, you can Warmonger's Diplomacy. If they're not on Trench, if your opponent is on Trench, Warmonger's Diplomacy is not going to do anything for you, more than likely. Now, it does happen sometimes where they get a 3 of a kind in their hand and they want to be able to play it. So Warmonger's Diplomacy can be really good in certain spots, but be careful with it against Lexi. The places you're really going to see this card shine are Vincent, Traditional Briar, where they're attacking you, and Viserai. Those are the ones that really stand out. So Warmonger's Diplomacy, a really good card that can be great in certain situations, and it's a 3 block if not. That also turns on Kodachi, so it's a really good card to add to this deck. We talked about the value that I find from Ancestral Empowerment and Breaking Point. I really want to highlight that these are the 2 cards that I feel like really turned this list around for me and has taken my win percentage a lot better here. I'm going to show you guys in just a second a spreadsheet that I keep of all my games and how I feel about my games and like where I'm at right now and kind of like where I'm at. So these 2 cards, Ancestral Empowerment and Breaking Point, have been a powerhouse for me. Now, Command and Conquer has really been the only form of disruption that Fai has had for a long time. When you look at Command and Conquer, it's a 2-for-6 that blows up arsenals, and defense reactions can't be played against it, which is really cool. Command and Conquer is a really good card against Lexi, Azalea, anything that really values its arsenal. It's very good into. It's also good into Dromai, because as Fai, it is in my opinion that you are slightly favored as a Fai player into Dromai, but Command and Conquer gives you that extra edge on a turn where it's like it's close, the game is like teetering back and forth, bang, you got a popper in the game. So that's pretty cool. Like seeing that. Reinforced Saline. Reinforced Saline has picked up a lot of value with Command & Conquer Pummel being played through Oldhim and throughout Bravo over the last, 6 months to a year. Now, Oldhim's out of the format, so we don't see Command & Conquer as Pummel as much, but Reinforced Saline is also very good against Azuri. I like to bring in Reinforced Saline against Azuri because it helps me when they're playing Shreds or if they're playing other cards where I'm trying to block. So Reinforced Saline really puts me in a pretty decent situation, and I think this is a must-have for Fai right now in the metagame. Sink Below. It's the best 0-for-4 defense reaction you can have. Helps filter your hands. It's really good to Arsenal against Bravo. It's also very good into Azuri. There are other matchups you can play it into. I like playing it into the Ninja Mirror. Personally, I like having the Sink Below, especially if you go first. You want some defensive tools to really help you out. Tunic is basically specifically for Icelander. It's the only time I ever bring it in as Icelander. I'm not saying that's ultimately correct. You guys might have other matchups where you bring it in, but Icelander is the main key for Tunic. I'm also only running AB1, so you'll notice I'm not really trying to block a bunch of damage. I'm really just trying to make sure that I have resources to push through. We're playing 15 blues, and I found that Tunic really puts me in a good spot. Mask of the Pouncing Lynx is an interesting card. I remember when this card shot up like $20 or $25 overnight when everybody started playing it. It's now like $3. It's a great card, and it blocks for 2 in a pinch. Against Bravo, I prefer to play this against all the Guardian heroes because Mask of the Pouncing Lynx is a card that punishes your opponent for taking a card off with cards like Salt the Wound and Lava Burst. So when your Guardian opponent takes a turn off with Mask of the Pouncing Lynx, or takes a turn off and they decide that they're going to stop blocking and they're going to push a lot of damage through, that's when Mask of the Pouncing Lynx gets used, and you use it to really punish your opponent. So I really like to see that. And then Tide Flippers is my only source of Arcane Barrier. It can be used as a go again, as a Snapdragon Scalers in certain situations, but it's mostly Arcane Barrier 1. Now, I like to have Arcane Barrier 1 against Icelander because they can race you if you have 0 AB, but being able to pitch a blue to block 1 and then pay 2 for certain things like, Ether Ice Veins is pretty important and kind of helps you keep tempo a little bit. So overall, as a whole, this is my Fai list. I feel very confident about it. I'm probably really looking at this deck towards ProQuest season, which is coming up sometime in October. So ProQuest isn't too far away. So if you're thinking, hey, it's time for a break, Nationals just happened, or maybe you're preparing for your Nationals event and you're watching this, because I think UK Nats is this weekend, might be on right now. And then I know that there's a couple of other countries that have Nationals the following weekend. So if you're watching this to prepare for Nats, I really hope that this has been helpful and insightful for you, is something that you might consider. Maybe not because it's so late and so close to the event, but something to think about if you do see other people playing Fai, give you some insight there. And if you're looking at this for ProQuest, I think this deck's going to be in a very good place during ProQuest. I know that FatigueBriar won't be around then. She's already hit Living Legend, but I do think that this deck will be a very good deck on the metagame moving towards ProQuest season. Okay, guys, so I told you I was going to show you all my spreadsheet for some of my games that I've played. These are 15 games that I've played into Lexi and to FatigueBriar. You can see that I have 7 games on Lexi, and I'm 5-2 into her. I did lose both those games against the same Lexi player. They were a very good player, and I had a good time chatting with them, talking about the matchup a little bit. But I have I'm 5-2 into Lexi so far, and honestly, it feels pretty good. I feel like it's a very close matchup, and if they have Arctic Incarceration at the right time, you can lose. But I do think that this Fai list is slotted into a pretty good position. Having 5 Command and Conquer effects really puts you in a good spot. You just have to make sure that you're arsenaling carefully and making sure that you're playing your breaking points strategically. FatigueBriar, I have yet to lose to. FatigueBriar feels so good. I love playing against this matchup, honestly. I don't think that you can lose playing against FatigueBriar. The FatigueBriar deck is good, but they're forced to take turns off and throw some of those 3-for-7s at you, and throw their Scar for a Scar at you and stuff like that, and they just can't keep up. Your Art of War, Spreading Flames turns are just too much, and you're just pushing through too much damage. So if you're really looking to beat up on FatigueBriar and Lexi, I really think that this Fai list is a good option for you. Guys, thanks a bunch for watching my Fai deck tech. I hope you guys found it useful and found some good things that you might be able to take away from. And maybe if you really enjoyed Fai during the Belittle time period, then maybe you can look at looking at Fai again, because I honestly think it's going to be in a really good spot. and I'm probably going to be playing Fai for the foreseeable future, just because I don't really know where I feel about the metagame, and Fai feels pretty solid right now. If you guys see anything that you all think I could change, or maybe there's some cards that you think could be different, let me know in the comments below. I'd always like to hear different opinions, and thanks for watching, guys. If you liked the video, be sure to like and subscribe for more content. I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy, guys.